Hello, this is Cookies. I have turned 93 of LA Erytheia, and we got a bunch of gems from Ulm. That's because we sent Ulm 150 death gems from Arco's Death Basket, and this is our way of diversifying the gem types. And we can turn the water gems into pearls, which is also nice. Ulm also sent us 1,000 gold, and he was just being really nice because he did put up Arcane Nexus, so he's trying to help us out because it's definitely hurt us quite a bit. Um, I know what he's trying to do, which is he's trying to prevent Satis from using Nexus, the Nexus that they share. But yeah, he's just trying to pitch in and help out. So should be good. Maybe I can, depending on what combination of mages I do, I can get 4 to 10 mages out of this. Maybe 11 mages if they're all mystics. Moving on though, we did do Divine Name. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Actually, we'll take a look at it now. Just hopefully I don't spoil anything. All right, so this is our new tart. So we had previously summoned it, but we finally found a S2 Soulless Mage and got him into the right spot, gave him some kit, and did was it Divine Name rather than Gift of Reason. And so now we have a brand new, I think, S3 D2 N2 tart. So we've got a fun little plan with him. I'll cover that in a little bit though. In terms of, oh, and before we get to the battles, I had 6 mages die this turn to horror attacks. So yeah, just continuing to take a lot of mage attrition from Astral Corruption. So I think this will use up a good chunk of that 1,000 gold. All right. And then we've got, all right, so we've got a few battles here. So we've got Satis and Erytheia. So we're getting attacked in Snowford. And he's just going to kill some of my PD here. All right, no problems there. Last step Swamp. We're going on the offensive here. All right, so this was our big living army. Had all sorts of buffs on it. This dog comes, he's a battle summon for this guy, so we've got a little bit of a thug here with a Holy Scourge and decent MR, but he's got enough hit points that hopefully he can survive a Blood Vengeance hit or two. Then we've got Pearl Guard, we've got Hoplites, we've got Hoplites back here. Over here we have a tremendous number of Tomb Worms and a number of mages as well. So, and then for anti-magic, he's actually using a Lore Master this time rather than a Golem, which is a neat little adaptation. And this is a very good set of randoms for this tart. I wonder if I don't think he empowered it, but I do wonder if he empowered it in Death once. But I don't think so. I'll have to ask him sometime. All right. So let's go ahead and kick this one off. So our turn 1 evocation, relief, natural storm, wailing winds, and blood rain. Now notably in the background here, you'll also see dark skies. That's because we happen to be fighting in Satis Dominion. So, one of the things that I'll show here is I have a mage with morale 0 at I believe on round 2, as soon as Wailing Winds and Blood Rain went up. Yeah, we're just at morale 0. So -1, 1. So Dark Skies is very strong. I believe it scales. I think it's 1 morale per candle. And so essentially we've walked into a trap where we've got no shot. And which is unfortunate, but that's how a decent number of late games go, where you do some morale play in combination with Dark Skies, and the other side just can't really play the game. We got around that in the Vanheim game in the new Orange lobby because we made use of Growing Fury, and we had progressed late enough in the game in terms of our blood economy that we had large numbers of morale immune troops and a lot of morale gear. But we never quite hit that point in this game. So this is a kind of material advantage that Satis now has over us that we just can't fight. So, which is just kind of part of how Dominions works. So, it's a game of counters, and unfortunately, we're not able to deploy the counters, and so we're gonna end up getting rolled here, and that's just how late game fights go. However, what is kind of funny about this is you can see it's battle round 3, and the army's just completely turned around, and they're just running the other way. The communion did get set up, but so a few of the mages cast a few spells, but generally speaking, not much is going on here, because the whole army has 0 morale. Ooh, we do get off one Undead Mastery. Should distract him for a few seconds. So one of the things you'll notice is all of our communion masters are running away so quickly that the communion slaves are actually going to pop out of their communion, and they're going to have a reasonable shot at actually running away before, like, these two guys might be the last couple of masters. Get off the field. Alright. So you can see here they did take a fatigue hit, I think from the communion's ending, and they're stunned. I think after that they should be able to start running away. And so Satis's morale play has worked so efficiently that he's not actually going to be able to kill all the communion slaves that I had, because I've already left the field by essentially round 20, battle round 20. And we had gotten off just enough spells back here that it took them about that long just to cross the battlefield. And we still had this one little line of hoplites to kind of slow them down on. Oh, he's blind. Alright. So, pretty bad defeat. This kind of combo, I think, means that we have no shot at trying to take this throne under Dark Skies. There's clearly too much Satis Dominion here. In terms of losses, we didn't lose that much. We only lost... So the Liches should come back. We lost a Soulless Mage. We lost 4 Deducos and 2 Mystics. So we're down about 7 mages. and some number of troops, the terracotta soldiers, the living statues, they were all mindless, so they died. And then the Erytheian hoplites, we lost a few hoplites. Yeah, so like 15 guys out of that. So 55 total. In our big Evo attack, we did kill 48 tomb worms, which was nice. We also killed a soulless warrior, who I think is a mage. And we killed a reborn. In terms of the retreat, as far as I can tell, things went well, but I can only see about 25 of the 130 commanders. So I did post a request for Dom 6. Hopefully we can get a bigger text box for that. And yeah, so I'm not able to see the Dominion here, but it's got to be pretty strong Satis Dominion, where we were starting the battle at 0 morale. And so, yeah, I don't see any way that we're gonna try and grind our way through all these tomb worms. And so I think we need to pull back to our own dominion. You can see this fort's already enemy dominion. And we lost 6 mages from the horror attacks here due to the statue of hideous visage. So I don't even think we can stay in this fort because of this site that we did to Arco earlier in the game. So I think we're gonna need to abandon this fort. So we're pulling this army back to the right here, and we're pulling this army down into the right here, into Dumna. We're going to try and cut off this snake army here. I'm assuming it's just going to go on the Arco fort and take Arco out of the game, but you never know. It could try to blitz through. In terms of these two armies, I'm anticipating that they'll attack next turn. He might try to magic phase. So, do I have patrollers? Yeah, so I do have a little bit of a patrol squad. So it's just a small Gifts from Heaven crew. Ooh, did I forget to... Oh. I forgot to pull stuff out of the garrison here. I was going to leave all this stuff behind, so good thing I recorded this episode before the turn rolled. Alright. Unless I'm leaving some stuff behind. I think all the mages are moving. Okay, so you might have to bear with me here while I do a little bit of scripting. Alright, so we're gonna pull these snakes off. They're pretty high morale, so maybe they can go right here. Yeah, 30 morale. I don't really care who they're on. Actually, I do. I don't want them to be on a commander that'll just get flames from the sky, but I'm not sure if I'll have a choice. Oh, I can put him on this guy. Alright. And then we'll add the thralls to him. Get the draconians out of here. Alright. And alright. Let's see. Seems like we have some more guys that could go into these groups. Hopefully you don't mind too much. Come on. There we go. Alright. Give that guy some bodyguards. Let's see. Um, well, the trolls can go on this guy. Oh, I've got 3 of these Saromancers now. Alright, well, they can be bodyguards. 2 of them are twice born. And this can just be the menagerie squad. Alright, got some bodyguards for that guy. I have a tough magic commander. I guess this guy. Um, and now just a few magic guys. Ah, perfect. Alright, we have a little bit of Evo bait. Cool. Alright, well, I'm glad I looked at that. Alright, we picked up everyone from the other one. Okay. We'll take the rest of this from the strategic map. So, this throne is cut off. Satis still... maybe he's worried about Gateway. It's still difficult for me to Gateway. I need a Soulless Mage to do it. And then... we've grouped up here. But we're gonna go ahead while this army is off taking Raga. We're gonna go ahead and send a crew. And it might not work, but we're gonna do our best to try and steal a bunch of these fire elementals and the King of Banefires and just see how it goes. Steal Anthrax. So we've got that crew off doing that, and then we've got a small patrolling group, and then we've got some mages going the long way over to the throne. And yeah, well, I mean, we'll see if we end up regretting that, because there's now 600 snakes here, but they'll be taking this turn, and then we might be over here, and then we'll be like 2 steps away from coming back to help. So that might be a bad idea. But we're still trying to pack stuff in here. So, additionally, this guy is going to... Oh, and I should show you how that Firestorm guy worked out. So instead of finding 40 snakes, he found a whole Satos army with a lot of the buffs. And unfortunately, one of those buffs was Army of Gold. We'll see in just a second here. So Darkness, Rigor Mortis, Wailing Winds, none of that matters to this guy. He's just getting point buffed. He's already undead. But... oh, where are they going to get it? So they're gonna get Army of Gold here in just a second. Right here. So now they have 5 fire resistance. So unfortunately, our Firestorm play, let's see, 3% of the battlefield is struck for 6 AP. So, oh, what does that mean then? If it's happening 23 times around, and it's 3%. So maybe a square has like a 70% chance of getting hit every round. But notably, it's 6 AP fire going against 5 fire resist. And that's not going to do anything against their regen. So what I was hoping would kill just a few fire snakes ended up, or just a few tomb worms using Firestorm, ended up being this guy trying to tank this whole army. It just wasn't going to happen. So we've got, yeah. But it was a nice try. He's got a tremendous amount of regen and 31 MR after getting the buff cycles off. So he's actually holding up reasonably well. Most of the new skeletons they do end up just kind of getting burned up. But yeah, eventually they do run up and they do a bunch of drain life and he dies. But yeah, Rip Tart. This guy ended up retreating into the fort. We're going to go ahead and rescue him because he can do free spawn. And now we're going to launch immediately into another risky Tart play. So what this guy's going to do, this is something I talked about with Cassar, is he's got a Shroud of the Battle Saint. And if you remember my Bless, it's a Combat Farcaster Bless, which means that he might have the range to do opposition spam onto the Golem in this army. You can see a huge Golem here. So we're going to go ahead and give that a try. He's also got 29 MR. He's got some pin boosters and stuff like that, and he's got a Ring of Returning, so hopefully he won't die. But yeah, it'll be we'll see if we can snipe his Golem out from under him. And then maybe if we're lucky, this army will walk over here into this, and then we can take a fight. So, and here we've just got all of our Soulless out in front because we're worried about Undead Mastery. A few more over here. Then we have a couple blocks of troops and a little pack of mages. And then over here, we're starting to hit the tipping point where we've lost enough key mages, the kinds that cost gems that we can't really replace, that we're starting to lose magic diversity, especially for army buffs, especially with this army split up. But I mean, we're getting some stuff off. We've got Undead Mastery and the Rush of Strength, Damage Reversal. I mean, we still have a lot of buffs. Will of the Fates, Army of Blood. So, and then a lot of the big nature spells. But yeah, it is getting more difficult to kind of put this stuff together. Then down here in the south, it looks like it was pretty calm. We're going to go ahead and try to merge together an army right here. So we've got a bunch of mages. We've got some troops, but not very many. We're getting off a few buffs like Fog Warriors. And that's just because we've got a whole huge army. This guy's feeble-minded. We're not worried about him. And then we're moving this army back one, it looks like. So just because I don't think we can afford to lose the gold from this region yet, especially since we're losing the Raga region. So if we want to be able to pay upkeep, we either need to lose a couple more battles or we're gonna have to protect some land. I'm not sure how much more, like, especially with how much these are worth. Like, we could lose 800 gold with just these two. And then that would take us down to about 5k. Then another, like, 300, 1,000, 1,200. So losing this region would probably cost us like 2k gold. And then we'd be essentially unable to hire new troops. So that's kind of why we're sacrificing so much to try and protect this region. And we've got this army here, which, yeah, is moving back one. And that's just because we don't see any snakes on the border at the moment. So that's kind of the idea there. And I think that's most of it. I'll go ahead and go through the battles. So we saw this one. Vampire. Oh, he did do a vampire raid, and he hit my small little counter raiding party. So we actually managed to hold on to it. We actually managed to win a small raid because no tomb worms were involved. So we had 2 pearl mages here to do water elementals. And we had a few troops. Alright. And then, yeah, this was our tart raid. So we lose 2 mages there. We lose a little bit of stuff. And we just didn't kill anything. Alright. And, oh, and there was one other big battle this turn. It was between Ptal and Satis. So, notably, I think this is Patala trying to move on Satis's throne. That's, I think, near, I want to say his cap, but he doesn't own his cap anymore. Near one of his forts. And unfortunately for him, he's dealing with a horror harmonica tart. So, a teleporting ring of returning horror harmonica. And which I think is a little bit, well, with the ring of returning, he should be fine. And he's got the Battle Saint Shroud. And then he's got a number of tomb worms here. But because of Dark Skies and Wailing Winds, again, we run into the same issue my army ran into, where everyone's starting the battle with 2 morale, 4 morale, 2 morale. So they're basically going to get, they're essentially running to a stiff breeze, which is unfortunate. So, but we'll go ahead and see what damage. Oh, here comes Blood Rain. So the Bandar Warriors, -3 morale, just turn around and run immediately. And we've got Mass Flight. And unfortunately for Patala, a lot of his mages are the soulless, and they've got the perfect morale, so they're not going to run. They're also mindless, so I don't think they can run. So Satis is actually going to get a pretty good haul here. I don't think we need to watch it, though. it'll end up being 51, 58, 59 mages total that he'll end up killing, uh, having to fight virtually none of the army itself. All these Bandar just ran away. And he lost around 35 Tomb Worms and 2 Tomb Guard in the process. So pretty painless. Even managed to steal 3 of the Vinaras. Alright. We lose some gold, we lose some population, and we lose another scout. So, in terms of stuff that's going on, yeah, we're gonna try and check this army's advance, and if assuming it just moves on to Arco's fort, then we'll continue on to the capital. Meanwhile, this army here is gonna just start heading towards the throne. And honestly, this army here might just roll through the capital and head towards the throne as well. Because at this point, I don't, from this many snakes, I don't think I can protect this little region, including my capital. And it's not as valuable as the Kalem region. It's still pretty valuable, but we're talking 500, 600, 1100, 1200. And then we'd probably start fighting again around Ragdan. So it's unfortunate, but I think we're going to have to do a strategic withdrawal over to the Throne of Death. And then we just need to try and... We might be getting close to the point where we need to just sit on the thrones and try to defend them. And then see what Ulm does in the meantime. So... But yeah, we're definitely getting outflanked through the old Arco region, which I believe, that was always the major weakness. We didn't have a lot of fortifications over here. If you remember, these were all Arco forts. So we were pretty defenseless on this end, minus these underwater forts. And so with Arco being killed off now, we've got this whole kind of like underbelly of our empire that we can't defend. And then, but we've done a much better job, I think, on the southern front. So, because it's, even though Arco's died in this region, so it's starting to collapse. There's definitely a weak point where this army could just, it could take this fort, this fort, this fort. And eventually, when I do lose all of these land citadels, they're going to get Satis temples in them, and then I'll probably just get Dom killed. I do have a couple of forts kind of tucked away into random little provinces, so it would be annoying to actually kill me by the time this game likely ends. But there's going to come a point where Ulm's going to have to fight over this territory to prevent Satis from getting thrones, because I'll just not be able to... I'll no longer have the capability to defend them. So, all right, and I think that's it for this one. I know it was a little bit longer. I had to sneak in some scripting, but hopefully we'll get everyone out of there. If there's some nasty magic phase and we get trapped in that fort, it's going to get real bad. But we'll just have to see how it goes, and I'll see you in turn 94. Have a good one. Bye.